back to the executive order. This part here is saying the third-party providers can be set up to help flesh out these independent credentialing boards. This is all good stuff. Now, I know this is a lot of text, but this is all good stuff. Information sharing. The Attorney General shall create a database that's going to collect all instances of excessive use of force related to law enforcement. So we're going to have this national database that's going to be housed by the Attorney General. We're going to know all about these instances of excessive force. It's great. It's a great start, as I mentioned. But what is also going to be included in the database? So the database is going to have terminations, records about terminations or decertifications, criminal convictions of law enforcement officers for on-duty conduct, civil judgments against law enforcement officers for improper use of force. So this would mean if a law enforcement officer, hurts somebody and they sue them civilly, that's going to get reported. And then the big one, yes, I'm so happy about this one, where a law enforcement officer resigns or retires while under active investigation related to the use of force. So I am very happy about that. This is something I've been railing about on this show for months now, that officers will resign or they will retire in lieu of being fired or terminated. And so I am very happy that this is being included. If an officer gets in trouble and then they resign, still going in the database. You don't get to do that. You don't get to bail out of the process. You did something wrong. The fact that you don't want to be an officer anymore is fine for now, but we're still going to record that in the database. You don't get to wait a couple years and come back. You don't get to go across the state border, go to the next state over, the next county over, and become an officer again. We have a record of all of this. Now, where I would like to see this go much further is with the use of force stuff. So we see here that we've got where a law enforcement officer resigns or retires while under investigation related to the use of force. I would really like to see all of this expanded. Not only the use of force, but other things, other improprieties. Where are they conducting other malfeasance? All of these problems should be documented somewhere. Like, for example, in Arizona, we had a DUI crime lab technician who was viewing body cameras from the arrest records of his ex-girlfriend. So he was dating a girl. She gets arrested for a DUI. He works for the police department in the crime lab. He unlawfully accesses those body camera records in violation of internal policy, watches her body cameras because he was curious. He had nothing to do with the arrest or the underlying charge or any of that stuff. He just saw her name come through and he's like, oh, hey, Brittany, I wonder what happened with her case. He goes and he checks it out. Totally in violation of the law, not allowed to do that, violation of policy and all that stuff. Shouldn't that be included in this? He didn't use any force here, but he absolutely broke protocol, and he did it with personal motivation and personal bias. So why is that not being included? So, as I said, I think this is a great first step. I'm hoping that expands, and if we can wiggle our way in, if we can help create this database, if we can start monitoring some things, hopefully the idea is we can start adding more things that we want to look at. All right. The Attorney General shall regularly and periodically make available public aggregated and anonymized data, which of course is super lame because it doesn't do anything for anybody other than provide some general data. Now, I do think there's going to be some interesting data in here. I would really like to see what this looks like. This may impact policy prescriptions, so we may take a look at this data and say, the problem is a lot worse than we thought. Or we may take a look at it and say, it's actually not a problem at all, according to the data. We just don't know yet. And because we don't have a national type of a system that is monitoring these things across the board, there's too much hiding in the dark. The law enforcement officers and police agencies are keeping things in the dark. The more stuff we can bring to light is great, but I still do think that this is super lame because defense attorneys need access to this data. We want to know who the officers are who got disciplined. We want to know, their names, where they came from, what they're doing, and anonymous data, aggregated data doesn't help us do any of that. This subsection here again, play ball, get money.